20 years ago, when Betsy came to Durham and began her work here in North Carolina as an inclusion specialist, and ultimately her work led her to work on a council grant on family support, which at the time was a pretty radical idea. The idea that individuals with developmental disabilities and their families not only could live and thrive in the community, but also that they could and wanted to give back, and that they had a lot of really valuable skills and talents and gifts to give. That was kind of a radical idea way back then. And that was kind of the genesis of First in Families. Before Betsy came on board, some parents started leading this mission, and the charge for North Carolina being first in flight and first in freedom and first in families. And then when Betsy came along, she's really the one that kind of added her own brand and cohesiveness to this organization called First in Families that we all love so much. So she's been a real change agent in that way.
What is amazing about this award is that Holly Riddle was my mentor early on and connected me to my very first job in the field, which was as an inclusion specialist for preschoolers with disabilities who were getting, expelled from preschool and so forth. So I just started working in different jobs in different capacities and learning what it meant to support people with disabilities who were not my own daughter. At a certain point, I had the opportunity to support First in Families, which at the time was not a nonprofit yet, but it needed to get to that next level and had been struggling for a couple years to get all the paperwork done and so forth. So I was hired partly to help get the nonprofit status set up for First in Families, but also to operate a federal grant that they'd been awarded to promote self-direction around North Carolina. So to help families become aware, what does that mean? How can I take the reins more in accessing services and accessing the type of supports that my particular child, or in some cases adult loved one, needs. And then also talking with adults with disabilities about their experience in being able to manage their own lives and their own package of supports, if you will. So that was very eye-opening and really exciting work. And I got to meet some of the national leaders in the self-determination movement and watch what was happening in North Carolina with this idea of self-determination.
I've known Betsy for many years, actually. First meeting her, I think, in some of the many cross-disability organizations that we both belong to, and over the years became more and more interested in the work of First in Families of North Carolina, and actually had the opportunity to serve on the board of directors during Betsy's tenure as the executive director. And so I've seen her in many different professional roles, but I also know her as a mother of an adult with a developmental disability. And both Betsy and her daughter Janie have graciously worked with me on some of our efforts to provide education to various members of the community. She has years of commitment that she's given to the field. She always demonstrates a very forward-thinking approach to what is it that is needed, deserved, and then how do we move forward, and is able to do it in an advocacy and educational way, which I think garners respect and does actually help promote systems change.
We call her, some of us affectionately around the office, Mama Duck. It's been a kind of running gag for quite a while. She's always had these little rubber ducks on her desk. We'd always, be in there writing a grant at 4:30 p.m. and I'd be like, what's up with the ducks? And she would always say, it's really like being, a lot of the work we're doing is, it looks like we're kind of gliding along, just looks so easy, but under the water, we're furiously, paddling. And I think that skill that she has to make it look like she's just kind of gliding along is really disarming to me and my colleagues, because there's nothing that you can't broach. There's nothing that you can't share or have a different opinion or idea. I think the inclusivity that Betsy has instilled in every aspect of her life has been really important.
I think it's an important award because it does acknowledge someone's contributions that they've made over time. But I think the most important part of the award is it reinforces that critical issue, and in Betsy's case, it is family support, individual support. So it reinforces or sends the message to others. These are really important matters for us to attend to, and we should work with this leader on moving these things forward.